Welcome, wonderful people of the internet. This is the Lazy Piece of Shit podcast. Here, we like to talk about all the awkward and uncomfortable things you might be thinking but are too embarrassed to say. My name is Dan, and I am cordially inviting you to witness me making a fool of myself with each week's new episode. But for now, get comfortable, grab a drink, and let's get into it. It's Friday, so you know what that means. A brand new episode of the Lazy Piece of Shit podcast. So happy to have you all here listening. I hope your work week wasn't too crazy. It's been kind of crappy weather here for us, raining today. So, you know, it's kind of down, but I mean, that's what we're here for, to join us, have some fun, have some laughs, and as we talk about the things that make us uncomfortable. So I do have another wonderful guest who's decided to join me this week. I've had to coerce them with drinks and lunch, but that's okay. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I am Tora. I have been friends with Dan for a few years, on and off a little bit, but you know, we worked together a little bit here and there and have known each other for a few years now. Yeah,
we're coworkers, and then unfortunately there was I discussed a couple episodes ago, part of my life when I was not the nicest, and unfortunately Tora got the brunt of that, and we've obviously rekindled our friendship a little bit, and apologies were made and accepted, so that's a plus.
Definitely.
And I think we're both kind of in better positions than when we were when that kind of shit went down.
Both of us.
We both have kind of been on a journey for the last couple of years here for sure, especially you over the last couple of years. I'm kind of just getting going on mine. So I'm so thankful that you were able to pop in. Gonna do a new episode. Gonna be a little bit of a warning. It is gonna be a little bit more of an adult content episode. A little bit. We're gonna get a little weird and talk about all that uncomfortable kind of stuff, and you know, powerful, strong women, empowered women, and kind of empowered women in society now. And if you're kind of getting out into the world, you have some friends who are kind of, you know, a little bit more vocal, especially if they're women, how to be friends with them and potentially date them down the road if there's something going on there. So I thought of Tora right off the bat because, as I said, you are very vocal, you're very strong, you're very empowered. It's been great to kind of watch your journey over the last couple of years, from the distance, obviously. So now I'm happy to have you here and we can kind of discuss it.
Yeah, no
that
distance.
Sounded creepy. It wasn't from the distance. It was on Instagram. Like, I'm not like peering, like, you know.
I think I've seen you in my trees a couple of times in my backyard.
I am quite an avid tree scaler.
Yeah, you seem the type to be able to climb a tree,
I'm the guy that gets winded walking up the stairs, but I'm definitely firing up them trees, for sure. So, as always, I think this episode is definitely going to need a beverage. So
definitely,
we have taken a trip back to Nova Scotia for this week. We are doing some No Boats on Sunday cider, as Tora is a avid cider drinker. So I guess this pays homage to from Halifax, when I guess back a couple in their past in Halifax, you weren't allowed to drive boats on Sunday. So
really,
kind of cool little thing there. So let's crack these open and. Oh God! See what we can do. Yeah. Good thing I have a bottle opener.
Good thing I have my muscles here.
Yeah. Jesus. All right. There you go.
Excellent.
Let's see what this is like.
You have to look in
cheers.
the eyes.
Cheers. Oh yeah. Cheers. Sorry, I don't want to not hit it.
That's okay.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
No. Yeah. There's a little thing on the back. What does it say? No Boats on Sunday pays homage to the time in Halifax when hardworking locals restricted boat traffic on Sundays. This was their way to enjoy time with family and friends. We believe in the importance of being present in the moment and truly experiencing the things we love most. Our locally sourced apples are freshly pressed and we love most. Crafted for you to enjoy about. Yeah, anyways.
We'll cut that out.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. We're fine.
We're not going to cut it out because it's just funny when I fuck up. But here we are.
Okay, good to know I can fuck up. That's good. Can I say fuck?
Sure.
I mean, we already said it's an adult-only program this evening.
So if there's young ears around, you know,
sorry.
Venture... Maybe put headphones on, you know. I don't know who's listening to this with their children, but, you know.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
Just in case.
So, yes, we have our drinks. We can move on to random thoughts. And, what do you got in your mind? What's going on?
I mean, right now I want to talk about the Olympics. I think that's super exciting going on. And I think it's a little controversial that it's even happening in a pandemic. And if you look at what Asia's doing for their vaccine rollout right now, they're not doing so hot.
Not doing so hot, eh?
And then, like, the bikini thing. Let's talk about that.
Yes, did we figure out, was it the Norwegian team or the Swedish team?
Swedish.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
And I guess they were told, I guess
they can't wear bikinis.
They have to wear bikinis, and they wanted to wear shorts because
it was Norwegian.
Yeah,
you're so right.
I'm so smart.
Oh my god.
Just kidding. I just do research. No, it popped up on the social media world. Obviously, when a blaze, which I mean to me doesn't make any sense at all. These people are professional athletes. They just want to perform at their best.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, by the way, you have to wear
a thong.
These tiny
underpants.
Like what? It doesn't make any sense to me. So they got fined.
Yes.
And
apparently it was like a big fine.
Yeah, it was like 120 euros per player. Per
game or whatever.
I don't know if you heard this, but Pink.
Yes, love her.
Absolutely, another amazingly strong, independent, empowered woman. Yes. She said, "I will pay the fine." It ends up being like $2,000 plus something like that, and she says, "I'll pay it." I got it. And that was amazing. So just it's almost like we're making all this progress with situations and stuff, and then you have shit like this that pops up, and you're just kind of like, what? Like, who cares? Like, they're professional athletes. Why would it matter if they're wearing shorts or they're wearing a thong? I don't get it. It seems so effed up.
The men are in like baggy shorts.
Yeah.
So
why?
Like, what's the reason behind needing to wear a bikini? And Lindsay, we love her. Shout out to Lindsay. She's been here a couple of times. She posted something today. I don't know if you saw it.
Yep.
But talking about how women are being forced to wear bikinis, and being fined if they're not wearing bikinis, but in school you can't show your shoulders without getting expelled, or you have to have a skirt a certain length, only 1 inch above the knee. So like, you can't have it both ways. You can't
mixed signals are crazy.
While we're young, you want us to cover up, but then as soon as we are developed, you're like, show off the titties.
Yeah, let's see that ass.
Let's see that ass.
And I mean, no, like I mean, to be honest, if you're watching the Olympics, I don't think it should be for the sexualization of women. Like, you know what I mean? It's
about the sport.
It's about the sports, right? Yeah. And I think bikinis, for instance, take away from the fact that these people train all year to do this.
Multiple years.
Multiple years to get in, and then, they're literally just eye candy. Like, it was a real head scratcher for me, because I don't get it. I mean, it doesn't make much sense, especially in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Why it was such a big deal.
I want to be surprised, but I'm not.
No, yeah, exactly. And then you have Simone Biles.
Love her.
Probably the most popular and biggest gymnast in the world.
In the world.
She, I guess, was having a rough go and took herself out of the competition for her own mental health, and everyone's kind of going at her for that. And I'm like, this gal's done it already. She's just going back. Champion. Yeah, she's 24, which from what I understand is a little bit old for the gymnast, which is terrifying. Like, this girl's already given most of her life. Like, give most of her life to perform for her country, and then you have this whole situation come up, and you have people who are super supportive. I mean, I'm super supportive. Good for you.
So proud of her speaking her piece on a big stage like that.
Yeah, and taking the time for yourself. I understand that there was that argument that you only perform once every 4 years. Blah 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 blah. I do get that, but I mean, they are doing competitions throughout the years to qualify, and there is a lot of pressure on her, especially. And what would have been worse if she did perform and she wasn't at her fullest and she messed up, and then they don't get the silver. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Then they don't get anything, and then it would be a bigger issue then. So it's honestly for her, it's either you're either gonna take heat for taking yourself out when you're not feeling 100%, or if you perform and you're not at 150%. Then you're kind of shit on either way. So I mean,
double edge.
I don't know. It just seems so weird, and I don't understand it. I would have liked to maybe have seen, like, I know this sounds terrible, but if a male had done it, to see kind of that there was any backlash there, because I don't
think the men would have got it.
Yeah, I to be honest, I don't think it would have happened to begin with, because I think the men would have performed and fucked up, and it would have been a lot worse, got injured or something like that. Yeah. But it's just kind of crazy how we've come so far, and yet on a global stage like this, it's like, oh, by the way, we're going to revert back to 40 years ago. So
and I didn't realize that Simone was actually going through a bit of a sexual misconduct scandal with one of the coaches from the Olympic team. So even dealing with that on a stage like this,
and that's like, I've done a little research into it, because I was just kind of like, why are people coming at her like that? It just seems so ridiculous. I understand it's the Olympics, and no offense, you may have a different opinion, but for me, these Olympics don't seem like the Olympics to me.
No.
I always kind of get into it a little bit. I like, making bets and watching it, especially at work when we can just throw it on. This year, I just tend to not really, I don't want to say care, because that's not true, but it's just, it's the Summer Olympics, and we don't really ever, Canada never does well in Summer Olympics. Not well, but, not as well as we would like.
In the winter.
There's just so much crap going on, and it just, you see some of the soccer teams taking a knee and all that garbage, and it's just like, let's just focus on the sports and representing your country and go from there. And I find like it just not being the Olympics this year. And you know, it is a tad bit weird. But yeah, Simone, I guess there was a huge that I forget his name, but I shouldn't forget his name because he's a fucking terrible piece of shit.
We don't want to bring that energy in 2021.
No,
we're not even going to say that.
And she was mentioning that she was one of the only, I guess, people left from that era, if you will.
Yeah, she's the only survivor.
And she feels like if she retires or that kind of stuff, then it will kind of go away.
Yeah.
So that's also why she's trying to compete, is that she doesn't want that to go away, because she thinks, and I think everyone thinks, that he deserves to be punished to the full extent of the law for what he did to those young women, and it's disgusting. And then you have them trying to paint this picture about how she let her teammates down. Absolutely not. You saw it. I rewatched it.
Her teammates are so supportive.
So supportive. She went off the mat or whatever, changed, got back into like, I guess, sweats and the USA jacket, came back out, was chalking them up, was cheering them on, giving them, and you could just see that they got silver. Yeah, okay, would they have liked gold? Sure. But at the end of the day, it is against the people from Russia, even though they're banned. And, you know, it was just, they were happy. She was happy. Good for her. Like, it's about time people started kind of standing up for themselves and not letting, you know, the Olympics roll over them. And I hope, I don't think anything bad's going to come of this. I think if anything, it's going to be better for her because she took a stand. And the people that are running their mouths can just shut up from their couch eating Cheetos while she does like 90 flips in the air and lands it. You know what I mean?
It better.
It's
do it better.
It's just trash. So it was honestly, like, I know having you on and we were talking about, like, you know, powerful and empowered women, and this kind of shit came up and I was like, holy fuck, like, talk about kind of like a perfect, you know,
storm almost.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And it's just, we have to talk about it. And, you know, whether you have your opinion or not, obviously everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I would love to talk to some people who think that she deserves bad things coming her way because of what she did, because I think that's crazy. I just saw earlier today, I guess she pulled herself out of the individual too, and the team and the individual. And there was, I forget her name, lovely lady, I assume. She won gold.
Yes.
And Simone would have been performing, and she probably would have won gold. So
for sure.
And she was so happy that this person who wasn't like, it just kind of blew up the whole entire medal count and who's going to win. And it's kind of interesting to see who's kind of going to rise and kind of fall. And this random US athlete won gold, and she probably wasn't pegged to win it at all.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And you know, good for her. And it is what it is. At the end of the day, no one should be killing themselves for the Olympics. Like, you know,
people who are giving her a hard time, like, she has probably spent the last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 24 years training for a moment like this, training for a stage like this. So I'm sure she's struggling to make that decision. That, like, I don't even know how people are upset with her. Like, if anything, she should be upset that she had to do this, but I'm so proud of her for, like, taking the stance and doing it for herself and taking the time when she needed it, obviously.
Yes. And I'm also, like, proud of her in the sense that she didn't kind of cop out and say, oh, I got injured. Do you know what I mean? She came out and said, no, my mental health is kind of at a point. I mean, I can only imagine all the athletes being at some point, with all the kind of the restrictions and COVID still kind of going on, them maybe thinking that we shouldn't really be here right now,
for sure,
and trying to focus and get the job done. I think there was some stat where this I guess pretty famous psychiatrist or therapist was, I've already had like 21 athletes reach out to me, it's been 2 days, you know, and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, I think you just have to remember these people are human too. Like, they're gonna make mistakes, they're gonna have feelings, they're allowed to feel those feelings. Absolutely. And I think Simone did an amazing thing, and I truly commend her for that, because, you know, she's awesome. She's standing up for the people who don't have a platform to stand up for, and she's already a fucking champion. Like, she's got enough gold medals, she doesn't need any more. Like, get them, Simone, if you're listening. I know you are, because obviously this is a very famous podcast. Super famous. I know you're out there listening, Simone. We are proud of you. Yes. Once this is all over, we'll have you on and we'll discuss it. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic. And I mean, I know you were supposed to have Will Smith this week, right? And he actually subbed me, and he was like the only person who could do this. I got Tora coming. You got to, you know. And here we are. Here we are. Here we are. But I think next time in my clause for my next episode, because I'm sure there will be, like, I need a driver. A driver, yes. A driver, I don't want to do that drive again. No, you did come in from a little ways out, so I do feel bad, but I do appreciate you stopping by, you know? Great way to spend your day off. Yeah, absolutely. Driving in the rain, there's nothing better. Absolutely. Nothing better. All right, so that's kind of like the negative, like, random thoughts that we've gotten through. Not even negative, just bringing light to what's going on and kind of just talking about it, which is what we want to do, obviously. Any other good kind of things going on? Not good, but, you know. All the women
all the medals in Canada so far have been by women.
I'm like, are there any male like competitions going on right now?
Absolutely not. No, there are, but like they're not pulling through like the ladies are.
Ladies are killing it.
Proud of you. All of you. Again, I know you're listening. Probably at the Olympic Village. You got this on the big speaker.
Absolutely.
So proud of all of you.
Keep it up.
Yeah.
We love you guys for sure.
So
and
happy.
the surprise ones too are the best because their reactions are just so like honest and so pure.
Yes.
And it's just, and you love to see it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that. And as I said, I get the updates on Instagram, TSN, all them do it. So it's nice to see, but for me, it's just, I can't get into it this year. And
the time zone doesn't help either.
Yeah, 2 a.m. for most of the stuff. And yeah, so.
Too busy watching Love Island.
There you go. Everyone's hooked on the Love Island.
Love Island.
There we go. Okay, so I also watched, kind of, again, falling into these, these women's, I watched Gunpowder Milkshake on Netflix. I don't know if you've heard of it or seen it.
Definitely
It has Lena Headey, Cersei herself, Karen Gillian, Michelle Yeoh, Angela Bassett, Paul Giamatti's in it, and it was just like a kind of like a random like group of cast. It had a little bit more of like a John Wick feel, but again, just kind of like we have this push, especially from Hollywood too, where movies need to be carried by like strong male actors, and I think that this movie is just amazing in the sense that almost all of the main actors are all strong female leads. It was action packed. It was excellent, and not at one point did you ever think, oh my god, like, it was just action packed. It was good. Like I know like in like the latest Marvel movie they did that whole like at the end of battle scene, all the girls got together and were like, oh, and it was like,
love that.
It
felt weird. It
didn't feel natural.
It felt like an agenda.
Yes, where this is just a movie about, badass chicks kicking ass, blowing shit up, shooting the shit out of people. So definitely not a movie to watch with the children again. A little bit of swearing, a lot of blood, a lot of gore. Reminded me a little bit of Sucker Punch. I don't know if you ever watched that. It was back probably like 2010, 2011 came out. And it was just great to see a movie where it was carried and absolutely killed it with an all-female lead. I mean, you got Cersei, who's amazing, Karen Gillian, Nebula herself, and a pretty strong supporting cast too, which was like nice.
Oh, that's Nebula.
Nebula, yes.
Oh, I love her.
Yes, and her voice is very prominent, and you're like, oh, like as soon as you hear her talk, you're like, oh, that's definitely Nebula.
Yeah, like I'm not used to seeing you bald, ma'am.
Yeah, and I think it really would have done really, really well in theaters, but I guess obviously with everything going on.
Do you think it will go to theaters still, or probably not because it's right to Netflix,
no,
right?
I think there's going to be a sequel, and I think they may put it right to Netflix, or right to theaters. But honestly, I know Netflix is trying really hard to kind of pull stuff from the theaters and start doing it themselves. Yeah. Either way, it is what it is, and definitely check it out. As I said, I did finally get to the movies twice last
Me too!
week.
Oh my god, what'd you see?
I saw Fast 9, which I talked about with Britt last week.
Yeah, I heard that.
Nightmare. And then we saw Black Widow. Which
what'd you think? I saw it too.
I really liked it. Again, another great, strong, female-led cast.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I do have a soft spot in my heart for Black Widow.
ScarJo.
I think she's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Florence Pugh, amazing. And I just thought, I loved the humor in it. It was really funny, really dry. I enjoyed it. I know it wasn't like your typical kind of Marvel movie, like action-packed all the time.
Yeah.
But the action was really good.
It was.
I thought, but you have to remember, Black Widow's like a spy. You know what I mean? She's not as flashy as like Captain America or Iron Man.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I'm probably going to go see it again. But it was just nice to get back into the movies, have some popcorn, crush a hot dog. And yeah.
We've been crushing a lot of hot dogs, haven't we?
Oh, I just love the movie theater hot dogs.
Yeah, no, I know.
And they're like cooking. They're like cooking them to order, so it's even better because it's super fresh. It's not coming out of the drawer.
Yeah, you don't want any
it's
old
still on
hot
the
dog.
roller, and it's right into the bun, and it's amazing. So
love
that's
that good slide in.
The little things that I look forward to in life are just ridiculous. I need to find new friends and maybe a girlfrine or something, but we'll see how that goes.
I mean, you keep calling me out for my tattoo about that, and like you gotta stop. I have the Always tattoo, guys, and like in one of Dan's very first podcasts, he said he's looking for that girl. So
so I
don't know if he's trying to give me
messages.
messages.
Obviously, just telepathically through, and then with you listening, But how did you like it? What were your thoughts?
I liked it. I think it didn't really feel like a Marvel movie to me. I think you're right where it kind of had a different feel to it. And obviously I love a really strong, powerful women cast, but I felt a little upset that they didn't show a little bit more of her background.
Agreed.
And I was thinking that for somebody who is an assassin and is a spy, that it would be a little bit more hand-to-hand combat that we would see. And like, she is so badass. I would like to see a lot more of that.
She did a lot of her own stunts and stuff.
Yeah. But it was a fun movie. And, you know, I went to the theaters and saw it in VIP. So I got my pickles, which was amazing. Those fried pickles. I'm all about that. Love that for me. But it was good. It was good, but it wasn't, I don't know, it didn't feel like a Marvel movie to me.
I think that's the issue that when we've discussed a couple times with Rita is that Marvel has such a cookie cutter way to do stuff now. When you have something that's kind of thrown in there, it's a little different. People kind of tend to, you know, they're expecting this kind of like Marvel-esque movie. Yeah. And you're like, well, it wasn't that. I love that it wasn't Marvel-y. I like that it was very different in a very kind of, I don't know, just something different from the Marvel universe. I'm quite excited to see what they're doing with Q4, all these kind of, you know, the Eternals and all the TV shows that they're kind of trying to tie together to kind of get everything going. But I think this was a good movie to have kind of, especially back in the theaters. Yeah. And I think the worst part is, though, I'm just sad that ScarJo's obviously not around anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
This takes place before like Endgame and everything, right? So, you know, weird that they released it now, but I guess maybe I do think a lot of people enjoy ScarJo as Black Widow. I think she doesn't get the kind of same treatment as like unfortunately Hawkeye, you know, and I know he doesn't have a huge following because he has a bow and arrow fighting. I'm a fan of that. I do like him. Yeah. I do like Clint. Yeah. But I think, you know, I just think ScarJo's been around forever. She's badass, and everyone just kind of loves her. Whether you love her or hate her, you got to respect the hustle that she has. Yeah, for sure. Especially doing all of her own stunts and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, but you've been tending a garden. Is this what I hear over the pandemic?
Do I ever? Yeah. So, in my, I had a very lovely 7 weeks early retirement little bit. Little taste of retirement. Man, I wish I could retire. If any hot old men are trying to pay me to retire now, like, let me know. For sure. But yeah, in my 7 weeks off, you can cut that out, that's fine. In my 7 weeks off, I definitely took to gardening. I really got into the garden. It was a great way to stay outside, stay active. I'm very much solar powered, so for me to be in the garden is so important. I am literally growing everything. I could try to name it all, but I'm sure I will miss some. But I did actually pick some fresh cucumbers from my garden this week and some fresh dill from my garden this week, and I made some homemade pickles, and I mean, they're not bad. I'll eat the whole jar. Don't get me wrong, you know, your girl loves pickles, but they're pretty garlicky. So
when you're not seeing anybody, just kind of
gotcha. Like don't eat one before a date. Don't you know, eat it before bed. Don't eat it before going to work. Don't eat it before doing anything other than
sitting and watching Love Island.
Yeah, sitting at home watching Love Island by yourself and trying to avoid vampires. So, perfect. You know, the usual. Awesome. But it's been a lot of fun to get out and, you know, watch things grow and kind of see it all progress. So,
you know, accomplishment, right? You know, I did this, you know, and now things are going well. I don't have a green thumb, and I would probably just, you know, I cut the grass. That's my thing, you know. Yeah, that's nice. Bought a weed whacker. And I was, you know, big manly purchase for myself, you know. Check out my weed whacker. Battery operated, you know.
Woohoo! Not even pull crank. You're not trying to do that. You just click a button and it starts.
I'm just trying to save the environment one weed whacker at a time.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes.
But yeah, okay. So yeah, random thought went on for a little bit, but there was a lot of big things we wanted to discuss, especially with the Olympics and kind of that kind of craziness going on there. Yeah. Other than that, fitness update. Oh God. July, as I said, July's a write-off for me.
Speaking of hot dogs.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, I've stuck to my working out, which is fantastic. I'm really enjoying that. But when it comes to the nutrition, it's been a hot mess. I mean, last night we ordered like a bunch of sushi.
Ugh, so, love that for you.
It was quite delicious, I will say. But it's just one of those things where I'm not gonna like. I know it's gonna sound like an excuse, and that's fine. It is technically an excuse. But I'm just.
You gotta live your life, man.
Yeah, you know, especially I looked at my financials and it's just patio, you know, and I'm like, but I'm having fun. I'm going out with friends, you know, getting back to socializing, and I'm not gonna like say no.
We haven't done that for 18 months. Yes, like exactly. Live your best life. We, you know, 2020 was a write-off. We didn't do anything, nothing. Or at least for
I just ate everything.
Yeah. I mean, there's that.
I was high and I just ate everything all the time.
Same, literally same.
That's my life.
That's still my life. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the late night snacking is what I need to focus on because, as I said, I gotta. in my mind, I've trained myself to, if I'm watching TV at night, I have to have a snack, a Coke Zero, and it's like, no, you don't. So that's going to be what I'm going to work on over the next couple of weeks, is just getting rid of that mentality that I need snacking. You know, I'm going to, you know, get back to like trying to do my fasting, which is really working for me, and kind of do that. But as of right now, the nutrition, I've given myself to the end of July, which is coming up here. And then August, I'm going to kind of focus a little bit more on that. I mean, we have like a white like chalkboard here that we update. Well, it was. Yeah,
I saw it.
Yeah, I did have like all the stats for the roommate weight loss challenge, but we put a pause on that, and Brienne just wrote it the other day.
I was gonna say there's no stats on it right now.
It just says our summer bodies have been postponed to 2022. Thanks from COVID, and then it says ... maybe.
Maybe.
So.
I mean, at least you're aiming for 2022. Yes. You could have been like, let's make it 2025 an even 5. You know?
Yeah. I've been saying next summer for a long time, but as I said, I have the foundation of working out, which has been really good. And then honestly, I'm gonna like try and make better decisions in August, but come like September, October, when things kind of start, you know, getting colder and you start hibernating
patios
a little more.
Aren't open anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Fourth wave.
Turkey shoot and freaking, oh god, don't get me started.
Sorry.
Bull crap, because that's just not happening. I also got like my second shot on Tuesday.
Hey!
So thank you. You know, again, if you want to get the shot, you do your own stuff. This isn't. I got mine because I want to travel within this next year.
Same.
And it just, you know, I wasn't bad, I didn't feel too bad, but I made sure I had nothing planned Tuesday or yesterday. I just kind of, you know, hung around, felt tired and just achy. So that's also just who I am, as I am an old man now. But, you know, just popped the Tylenol and chilled, which is nice.
That is nice.
So that hasn't really helped with the eating properly. But as I said, I'm focusing on things that I can focus on. Water, you know, working out.
I'm so bad at water.
Oh, I know. But when I do get it for consistently, I feel so much better.
So much better.
My skin looks so much better. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with my fitness update. So
that
I
first,
know I might be.
morning pee doesn't make you vomit a little bit because you're so dehydrated.
I pee about 9 times a night. So
oh my gosh,
it's terrible.
You are an old man.
Really a 9 times.
You are an old man.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's just is what it is. I'm not gonna try and force myself into a situation where I'm just gonna fail, and then I just kind of keep rocking this. Keep working out, keep getting my water, and we'll go from there.
And I think as long as you're feeling comfortable in your own skin and feeling comfortable with the things that you're doing, like it doesn't make sense to push yourself to eat a certain way if it makes you miserable, or work out a certain number of times if it makes you miserable. I know you've worked from going from 2 workouts a week to 3 workouts a week now, which is amazing. Like, and I feel like a lot of people are probably like, oh, only 2 workouts, only 3. But it's like, it's better than none. Yeah, like, absolutely, it's better than none. So as long as you're feeling comfortable in your own skin, that's all that should really matter.
I have been having a good, not just a fitness update, a mental health update. Yeah. I've been feeling a lot better with myself. I don't look in the mirror every morning and go, wow, you're a piece of shit. It's been getting a lot better as I do see some progress, even with eating poorly. So I'm looking forward to when I kind of start focusing and seeing some real kind of results there. Yeah. But again, by no means am I going around being like, oh, I don't know why I'm losing weight. No, I know exactly why. It's the macaroni and cheese with the 3 jumbo hot dogs I just ate for lunch yesterday.
That's making you lose weight?
No, not lose weight.
The other one. We're not going to talk about it.
But yeah, it is what it is. And, I'm having fun and enjoying my summer and enjoying not being locked down. So that's kind of the big thing.
That's so important.
Yeah. How about you? You've been pretty fitnessed up recently, or?
Yeah, no. I when I was retired, I was out a lot, like I said, in the garden, and I was walking probably most days 3 to 5 kilometers. We have a really nice trail around my house, and go out and walk around a lake a few times and get some kilometers. I struggle with the eating part. Hot, hit and miss, highs and lows, points where I overeat. Certainly last night I had a craving for spicy dill pickle chips. Again, your girl loves pickles. There's a common theme here. But apparently my roommates ate them. I found out this morning because last night at 1 a.m. I went down to the kitchen and had a hunkering, and I had to eat cereal instead, which I still love cereal, but it wasn't chips. It wasn't chips. I was just I need that crunch. And again, 1 a.m. watching Love Island, just trying to snack. But I'm really glad that they ate them so that I didn't. That's a good part of my diet.
That's what Rita always says. Anytime I go for snacks, I usually leave wrap it up, put it on the counter, and I'll come home from work and they'll be gone. And Rita's like, oh well,
I'm just helping you.
Yeah. Okay. And then I just go to Circle K at 11 a.m. or 11 and go grab another bag. So
for sure.
Not really helping me out, but
No,
she tries.
Yeah, that's nice. I have 2 roommates, and they are eating pretty clean right now. So I'm eating really clean right now. We're dealing with some stomach issues. I say we because we're in a family. They do the majority of the cooking, and I'm not going to make them make special meals for me. That's for sure. But eating real clean. Oh my God. Imagine if I had to cook every day. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Welcome to us pilgrims over here that have to cook for ourselves every day.
Thank you, Hank and Laura, if you're listening. Thank you so much for feeding me. No, but it's been really good. I think that I've definitely lost some weight from it. I'm sure, everybody who sees me after COVID, they're like, oh my God, you've lost weight. But it's really just eating healthy and, trying to take care of myself. But I'm not really intentionally doing it to lose weight. I'm doing it to feel good in my skin. And that's been really important to me this past year. I don't know. It's been easy, like not easy, but it's, when the whole family's doing it, it's easy to like get into that routine and kind of see the residual effects from it, and we're all kind of feeling really good right now, so that's nice.
Perfect. Well, great work. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And that at the end of the day is what we want, just to feel good in your own skin. You don't have to have a six-pack. You don't have to do this or that. It's literally whatever makes you feel comfortable with yourself. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
Right? Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna move on to our main topic, which I put in here as kick-ass women, but I wanted to have like a strong and independent, empowered woman on the show.
And you picked me?
I don't know. Must be a scheduling error.
Yeah,
Will Smith.
weird. I thought it was Will Smith this week.
And to talk about maybe the changes we've seen over the last couple of years with recent movements, such as like the Me Too movement, making sure women feel safe walking home at night, kind of the lack of women in positions of power, equal opportunities in the workplace, that kind of stuff. As I said, you've been on a little bit of a journey yourself over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I guess would be like a fair assessment to say, trying to find yourself, trying to become comfortable in your own skin, and just kind of being the best you can be, I guess would be a fair thing to say, right?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think so. And like, I moved down to the city adjacent 3-4 years ago. I was trying to move away from some negative energy for sure, growing up in a small town and not necessarily aligning with the small town mentality of you have to be ABC to fit in here. I didn't really necessarily feel like I felt comfortable there. So moving down here really opened my eyes and opened my ability to experience different things, which was really nice, and meet new people and just live in a place where culture exists and diversity exists. Growing up in a small town, it was, I'm going to say 99% white, English-speaking, Anglo, heterosexual, cookie-cutter people. And if you don't necessarily align with those views, you kind of feel like an outsider a little bit. So I think moving down to the city certainly helped me progress and become...
Find your people.
Yeah, find my people and, be able to speak my piece and, talk about things that are important to me and learn about different people and places and cultures and eat
traveling
good food.
Helps that too,
oh
right? You do a lot of traveling. So that
Don't talk to me about traveling. I'm going to cry.
It's a soft spot right now.
I'm really sad about it. Yeah. But it's been a journey for sure. And, a lot of healing, a lot of, processing, some traumas, even since I've moved down here, you never stop experiencing life and, things will hit you and things will be good and things will be bad, but it's how you handle it and, surrounding yourself with the right people to support you when you're going through the things that you're going through is so important.
Yes, absolutely.
And being comfortable to talk about the problems that you're going through is really important.
Yeah, as I said, Rita's kind of my person, right? So I feel sad for people who don't have that kind of person. Sure. I can tell Rita anything in the whole entire world, and I know that there's no judgment. And I think everybody needs to have that person or that group of people. I can tell most of my friends almost anything, and they probably wouldn't bat an eyelash. But there's some things
you keep to yourself.
Yeah. And you don't want many people to know about.
Yeah.
So, 100%. And you have that one person who, you can bounce off, just so you don't feel crazy, right? Yeah. So, that's fantastic. So I guess, again, along the lines of like, would you consider yourself like a feminist? Like, what would you define? Because I feel like I hate the word feminist because I don't feel like, not that I hate the word feminist. So, whoa.
Damn.
Whoa. Damn.
Oh my gosh.
No, I feel
guy?
like
it has a bad connotation.
It does have but this, in the sense that I don't think that feminist is a one size fits all.
No.
Like, I think there's, like a bunch of different, I think it's more like a personal kind of thing, right? Like, what would that kind of, what does it mean to you more or less? Like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like,
I think for me, it's like wanting to see the women in your life succeed and not have those kind of immediate kind of hurdles that we experience as women, and wanting equal pay, equal opportunity, equal things like that, and equality. And I think it's just about supporting the people that you're with and surrounded with, and being encouraging, or maybe not encouraging, that's the wrong word, but like being supportive of those people and encouraging them to live their truest life and their true self, and not really I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, it's one of those things that I struggle with, because I don't think, like, you look at some of these feminist movements, that kind of stuff, and there's obviously like there's polar extremes, right? And for me, it's just, oh God,
it's fine. Life is
Pick
fine.
up your phone. It's all good.
God.
It's all good.
Trying to get my notes.
Yeah, she's trying to get her notes and just making all this noise. Good Lord.
Good Lord, breaking my phone.
But for me, like, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a feminist.
No.
But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just want women to be able to, again, walk home at night without having the fear of looking over their shoulder or worried about that.
Yeah.
I want, women to be paid the same amount as a man if they're doing the same job. I just want people to be able to be themselves without any having, connotations where they have to, explain themselves, that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I'm not really a big title person, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah, I feel that.
I just want people to be themselves and love who they love and be loved the way they want to be loved. Yeah. As long as it's consensual and safe, no one really cares, right?
It doesn't matter beyond that.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Is there, as I said, there is a little bit of a negative connotation around the word kind of feminist and what that entails.
But I think that it's a negative connotation because men take it. Sorry, all men who are listening to this. I'm categorizing you into one group, but I think men typically are like, she's just gonna be cranky or not allow me to say whatever I want to say, and it has to be her way, and she could never be wrong type of deal, and that's not what feminism is, in my opinion. I think it's not about trying to be better than men. It's about getting to the same level as men, because still we are not kind of treated the same. And I know I actually read an article recently that really kind of struck out to me. It's that they didn't really do a lot of research on the way that the COVID vaccines are impacting women's menstrual cycles. And it does make an impact on that, which I didn't realize. And then I was reading some more articles, and, sorry, we're going to talk about this, but like, men are kind of the default, and you're not necessarily thinking about women when you're doing things like this. And it shouldn't be the case. I don't want to say we're, it's not even just women, it's, trans lives and, people who are not necessarily binary. And, it's just, I don't think that it should only be women and men. We should just have human equality.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't matter, what you identify as or where you think you kind of lie on that spectrum, but being supportive of the humans around you is really important, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also maybe like now you're seeing that feminist kind of whole quote unquote movement kind of move into that, where it's not so much feminism, but just human equality,
rights,
right?
Yeah.
And I think that's huge. And, I'm kind of excited to see where things go, because at the end of the day, you just want people living their best lives and living their true selves. So I think that's kind of a huge thing there. As I said, I've already kind of mentioned it. Like, I'm not a big title person.
Yeah.
But like, would it be like, for instance, for yourself? Here's some titles for you.
Yeah.
Like, like you're very. I feel like you're very, from what I've seen and maybe just talking with you and getting to know you, you're very like forward thinking.
Yeah.
Very body positive.
Yeah.
Very sex positive.
Yeah.
Which I think is absolutely fantastic. I think the world needs more people thinking like this. It's kind of crazy because like I am a history major, so like for me it's interesting to kind of pretty much to see, like, you know what I mean, like back when we're going like Egypt, Greece, Rome, like,
women ruled this shit,
and sex was just that, like you would just go and giant orgies and all, and then obviously
those were the days, weren't they?
No one cared. You just did what you did, and no, there was no, you didn't feel bad about it. It was just, that was the norm. Yeah. And now you see, and obviously you can look into it and see with the rise of the church and that kind of stuff, that you see kind of the overlay, sex becoming this bad thing, and it's really terrible. You do obviously, like, especially in North America, I find it to be a lot worse, because even some places in Europe, the human body and sex is still very prominent and celebrated, where especially over here in North America, it's just,
and especially brutal. For women, especially and for like women. Not to say that men can't feel comfortable in their own body here, because I think certainly men do have a lot of things that would probably make them feel uncomfortable in their own bodies. And please don't feel that way, men. You're all beautiful. Every single one of you who's listening, again, categorizing you. But I think, like you said, in history, like I remember reading about back in the day in Greece, like women, when they wore their togas, their one boob was exposed often. So it's like, where did we get to this place where the feminine body couldn't be, or the female body couldn't be shown? And, you know, I think women, we typically are told, you know, hide your body, don't show anybody your parts. It's only for sexy time type of deal. And I was actually,
if you dress scandalous, then you're asking for it, which blows
like,
my fucking
don't
mind.
even get me started on that. Like, there's nothing that I wear that makes me asking for sex. Nothing. There's not a single thing, unless I have a shirt that says "Pound me now."
But even that is, you know,
like it doesn't give you the right to do it.
Consensual,
no,
you know what I mean?
For sure. Like, there's no reason why anybody should ever take that consent away from you. And it's funny, I was actually talking to a friend recently about this and how women were told to hide their bodies. And again, I'm going to keep talking about Love Island. I'm so sorry. And like, CBS, don't sue me, but because I know you're listening too. But the women, like, they have like these big showers, and the women and the men too, they just kind of like jump in the shower and shower together. And I'm like, I love that. Like, I love, you know, women who are comfortable in their own body and not afraid to be like, oh, these are my nipples, what do your nipples look like? Or like, you know, we don't often get to see, especially, you know, the nether regions. Like, I've never seen a live other human female's lady bits, vagina, let's just say the word. Like, I haven't. Or vulva, that's not even, let's be specific. It's the vulva, people.
Okay.
But I think that a lot of women are told, like, you don't show that to people, you don't show that to friends. And it's like, why can't women be comfortable being naked with each other? And I think it was on actually the Goop podcast, or the Goop, what was that Netflix series? The Goop, it's Gwyneth Paltrow's thing.
Oh God,
Goop?
yeah, I have no idea.
She's a little nutty, and you know, I'm not into the vagina smelling candle or whatever she's doing, but like, there are these retreats where women go and they're just kind of like naked together, and just like be naked with women, and I think that is so empowering. Absolutely. And I'm not saying like, you know, walk down the street naked, like don't do that, but like, I don't understand why women are so uncomfortable in their own bodies to like experience it with other people.
Well, it's obviously there's a bunch of different stuff, but obviously it's, and you know, you said it from kind of the female perspective, and I'll kind of maybe go from the male perspective, is that you always constantly hear this, oh yeah, dad bods are fine, dad bods are great, oh yeah, you know, this and that, and oh yeah, I'm attracted to a dad bod, this and that. But if you look on almost everything, ads,
it's not a dad bod that they're showing.
It's never once a dad bod. It's always a man who has a six-pack, who's very muscular. I would say 95% of things are geared towards us that way. And then so we're hearing this thing where, oh yeah, we love dad bods, you know, this and that. But then all of a sudden, all we're seeing is these very
picture perfect
model bodies. And for me, it's just like in my head, I'm like, well, you're kind of getting two different messages here. And I will say, like, especially for women, you've had a great push in the last couple of years, you know, like with, you know, like Dove does that, you know, Everybody's Beautiful.
Victoria's Secret just got rid of their angels. Love that.
And I think there's a huge push there, but I do sometimes feel like the men get left behind.
For sure.
Because I guarantee you, for any of like the runway models, they're all men they're all going to be this typical kind of thing.
For sure.
You know, I'd love to see more men, just average looking men in commercials and that kind of stuff. And I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead.
You know who does a good job at that?
Who's that?
Rihanna with her Fenty line.
Okay, yeah.
In her lingerie, she has some plus size men on there. Perfect. And I love it. And
that's all it is, right? It's just
love it.
And that's why when I started this, I was kind of like, I wanted to show that, you know, there's more out there than just some guy with six-pack abs.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And that's kind of, so I do agree that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, both, you know, every human, to kind of be comfortable in their own skin. And I also just, it's to the point where it's just like, for me, I was talking about it with a couple friends, and it's just like, who cares? Like, if you're gay, straight, you know, pan, bi, hetero,
cis, non-cis,
anything,
whatever.
You know what I mean? I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, you can love who you love. You can marry who you want to marry. How does that affect me in any way?
It literally doesn't.
And that's kind of what I'm hoping for, is that we can get to a point where there's no more, you don't have to, quote unquote, you know, come out, or you can just be you and not feel weird, you know, and be comfortable in your own skin. So I kind of think that that's hopefully where we're heading, especially in North America, because let me tell you, it's a mess. It's exhausting, you know, keeping this dad bod looking good, you know. I think you have an excellent dad bod.
And you know, I'm pretty social on, you know, my private social media about all these things, and I've posted a couple of times about, you know, the man bod, and like, you know, men being able to express their emotion, because, you know, not only do men have to have the perfect body as well, but you can't cry, you can't show emotion, you got to be stoic, and like, if you're anything but stoic, you're not a man. And nobody deserves to feel that way. Nobody. And like, no women, no man, no anybody in between. Ladies, men, whoever, however you identify, like, you deserve to feel comfortable in your skin.
Yeah, you always have that kind of like that. There's like that, like, I guess it was like not a meme, but like that thing where it's like, you know, a man sits on the side of his bed, cries by himself, and then puts on his face and goes out to see. Like, you know, it's like, you know, me, I'm very comfortable with my emotions. I have no problem correcting.
So proud of you.
Especially after my sister now, literally anything, I'm just like commercials and I'm tearing up. And
oh my God, yeah.
You know, that changes you, and I'm not ashamed of it by any means.
No.
You know, I think that in the end, when I am ready to find somebody, I think being able to communicate my emotions will serve me so much better than someone who is going to have a hard time and shut down, right? So I'm super thankful for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's just, I just hope we can get to a point soon where people can just feel comfortable with themselves.
Yeah.
No more titles and all that stuff, and just you know,
just be human.
Be you, right? Just be human and treat each other with respect.
It's not that difficult.
Yeah,
it's not that difficult, or it shouldn't be that difficult.
No, not at all. So with you and your journey, you've gotten to the point where you're comfortable enough to kind of start your own OnlyFans.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, if you don't know what OnlyFans is, take a quick Google. Again, children don't Google it, but adults 18 plus, please take a Google. If you don't know what it is, you'll find out pretty quickly. And if you do know what it is, then, you know, good for you. I hope you're paying people. But yeah, it's been really interesting. And obviously it's something that I'm doing to kind of heal from some past traumas and, you know, taking a little bit more ownership of my body and my sexuality and just being more comfortable in my skin. It's been a journey, and I think a lot of the time I kind of felt out of control of my own body.
Yep.
Whereas this really allows me to have that control in a sense. And you know, feel a little bit more comfortable posting, not even posting, but just being more comfortable in my body. Like that's been really eye-opening for me. And I've only been doing it for, you know, 6, 7, when was November? What year are we in? I have no idea. I think it's been like 7 or 8 months now, give or take.
Yeah.
And it's been fun, and I've even seen myself grow from this. I'm learning more about, you know, my sexuality and my preferences, and kind of learning into a little bit, or learning a little bit more about the kink world and things like that, and things that I never, you know, I've always been fairly open and talking about sexual or sexuality and things like that. I've always been a very open person, but it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
I mean, it's a journey nonetheless, right?
For sure.
And to kind of, I guess, get paid while you try and find yourself isn't a bad kind of way to do it, right?
A little extra money never hurts.
Yeah,
definitely.
No, for sure. And that's amazing. And as I said, obviously, as you said, if you don't know what OnlyFans is, give it a Google. But it is kind of this, you know, newer platform where people can kind of, you know, be themselves, make some money, you know, doing something a little different.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like the start where we can kind of start, where it's just kind of doing what you want, finding that niche kind of market.
For sure.
You know, especially with like, you know, you hear about people like kink shaming, blah, blah, blah. As I said, as long as it's safe and consensual, who cares? Again, you don't have to do it, right? These people are enjoying it. Do what they want, right? So you do have an alter ego? Is that kind of a thing?
I mean,
you know?
a little bit.
Okay. Do you want me to tell us about her a little bit?
Yeah. Or? What do you think about her?
I mean, I haven't really met her.
No, that's true.
That's true.
That's true.
But I mean, having somebody to kind of, you know, I guess like maybe I'd call her like a persona, if you will.
Yeah, I think a persona is a good term, because I mean, at the end of the day, she is me. Like, I am her. We are the same human. But I think that, you know, should I say the name?
Sure.
I think
whatever you're comfortable
for
with.
sure. I think you know, Tora's a very understanding, open person, and I think Vix, my alter ego, my other persona, certainly is open and understanding as well. And I think, you know, Vix has done a lot of learning, and, you know, tolerates a lot less bullshit than Tora does. And she, you know, I've always been fairly unfiltered, but, you know, Vix is just that extra level of unfilteredness and just kind of owning who she is, and her confidence level is a little bit higher than Tora. And, you know, sometimes now in my everyday life, my vanilla life, I kind of think to myself, I'm like, what would Vix do in this situation? Like, how would Tora react, but how would Vix react? And it's really interesting that, you know, I am the same, like, it's obviously me, I'm the same person, but like, I would react totally differently. So it's interesting to see. She's a time.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of cool because I feel like maybe Vix will make you feel a bit more empowered.
Yeah.
And then you can pull from her into your, as you said, your vanilla life.
Yeah.
And that's great that you're, you know, and you're not only thinking as Tora now, but you're thinking as Vix.
Yeah.
And obviously there's going to be some strengths that Vix has that Tora doesn't, and vice versa.
For sure.
And, you know, and at some point, I'm sure it'll be a nice blend, and then you'll be
Trevix.
There you go. And that's just who you are. And that's a terrible name.
We'll work on that. Yeah.
But that's crazy. Not crazy, but amazing in the sense that you have now, you know, for someone who maybe was a little, not shy by any means, but, you know,
healing. Let's say healing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now you're at the point where you're comfortable putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And I would say maybe like being a little bit more of an example for people who are struggling with maybe their body image and that, you know, especially, you know, like there's that whole kind of thing with porn. You know, there's always these, you know, extremely fit people, and it's like that's not real life.
Yeah,
like,
and I mean, porn in general isn't real life. Like,
terrible.
You know, it's so annoying. I never really watched a lot of porn, which is annoying. But when you watch normal porn that's on Pornhub, or I don't even know the website, is RedTube still a thing?
RedTube still a thing.
Cool. Yeah, I remember that from the days. But like, it's never about women pleasure.
No.
And I remember, you know, a couple of years ago trying to, you know, find a little porn or something, and like it's weird to say.
No, it's not weird.
I mean, it's not. We should
enjoy porn. Women should enjoy porn just as much. Nothing wrong with that.
For sure. And like, I think, like, you know, me just saying that it's weird, like,
that's weird.
That's weird. Yeah. That's weird. But that comes from Tora. That's not Vix. Like, Tora thinks it's weird because Tora never grew up in an area where watching porn was acceptable. It was always like, ew, like porn is for boys, and like women, you have to be proper and dainty or whatever. But I remember, you know, trying to find something specific, and it wasn't realistic. Like, I don't want to watch a girl get pounded and fake moan and all these crazy things. Like, that's not what real sex is. That's not what real love is.
Not how it goes.
No, and like, you know, time and place. Like, sometimes if you need a quick pound out and, you know, again, it's consensual, everybody's happy about it, like, you know, pound out, it's fine. But it's not always like that. And I feel like porn really makes it feel like it's always like that. So being able to kind of do, you know, online sex work, it kind of opens up people's eyes to porn not being real. And, you know, the people who are actually making the porn are real people, so why not be treated as such? And like, you know,
you're not just here to service a man.
No,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? And that's kind of the crazy thing. And, you know, I'm going to be doing an episode about kind of that whole thing, but
servicing men.
No, about how
can I come on that one?
Well, but no, just about how how porn is more or less ruining
sex, relationships.
Like, you see now, especially like for me, I grew up at a time when we had LimeWire. Like,
love LimeWire. Oh my god, did you have FrostWire?
Computer, yeah.
Oh my god, sorry, mom and dad.
Was so full. Like, that computer was just
Trojan virus.
Yeah, everywhere.
So many.
But you know what I mean. And so it wasn't so readily accessible, and now you have it literally everywhere. And you have, you know, young kids, children finding it so much sooner. And it's so unrealistic. It's at
their fingertips. They can search, you know, titties on their phone, and there they
are.
There
it is. And it's like, and yes, okay, maybe talking about it at a younger age will be better, but you're setting such unrealistic expectations.
Yes.
And now you're seeing negative repercussions in the sense that you have a lot of men, especially, who are remaining virgins far into their 20s.
Yeah.
You're seeing men who are having serious erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
Far into their 20s, you know, usually that's something you deal with when you're older, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But now you have a huge amount of people, men especially, having trouble because they have this, you know, when you start young, you always got to kind of, after a while it gets boring, and you got to kind of keep going and going. And by the time you're in your 20s, you're at this, you know, bang me while I'm shooting a potato gun, and you know what I mean?
So
it's just
hot.
So crazy. And
that's
then they go to try and have exactly. They go and try and have, that's not my kink, by the way. I just, it's a meme.
But we're not shaming anybody.
But no, if you want to get banged and shoot potato guns,
live your best
the power
life.
to you.
Live your best life.
But you have these guys who go and try and have these relationships, sexual encounters, and
they can't
because, you know, whether it be, you know, they're having trouble, and it's just so crazy, and no one really kind of wants to talk about it, because it's like, oh, well, you know, again, sex is very hush hush, you don't really talk about it over here, especially in North America. And so it's like annoying. Or it's the complete opposite, where you have these guys who just think, again, like porn will dictate, you just ram it in there and go to town. It's like, what? Like, no,
that's not
how that works. It's like ripping your car down, you know, in the winter without letting the oil get all ready to go. You know, it's a no, right? And
that's a really good analogy, actually.
Thank you.
Let
right at the top of my head.
Yeah, let the oil warm up, or
you
whatever.
know, and for a long time, we're seeing the negative repercussions of a porn industry who just, it's all about male pleasure, and I just think that's ridiculous. You need to kind of hopefully start, you know, pleasure for both people, like, you know what I mean? And all you have to do is a quick Google search, and you realize that 8 out of 10 women don't get off from penetration. Right?
Yeah.
But no one would know that from the porn you watch because that's all that it is,
and
right?
again, so like, because these women are obviously paid to
literally, they're actors.
Yeah, they're actors.
Right?
They're literally actors. So I think that that's such a good point. You're right. Like, we are going to experience a wave of men who just can't get their rocks off in the way that is going to be appropriate for both parties. And it's like, bruh.
And I think it's going to be scary because you're going to have a lot of people who don't really know what consent means. Just they just think that they can, when I know it's like the age-old thing, like, women aren't here to service men. And like
but just as much, men aren't here to service women either. For sure.
But I find, like, I've been watching a lot of reality TV, and like,
I thought you were gonna say I've been watching a lot of porn.
I've been watching a lot of porn too. I'll be honest. It's been a
Karen.
long COVID. No, Jesus Christ, Karen, don't listen to this episode. But especially I've been watching a lot of reality TV. Love Island is okay with it, but I've been watching like a lot of like Below Deck reruns. Oh my God, and I know it sounds stupid, but I get frustrated because these men on the show,
even Jersey Shore back in the day, they just 100%.
Think that these women are here
as a vagina
to service them, to like them, and it's just like, nah, man, they're here to do a job. If you maybe find a relationship that works, awesome. If they're just here to bang it out, that's fine. But it's just, it really hurts my head, and I worry for where everything is going with especially younger men and women, and and people who struggle with it and who are maybe trying to find themselves, and it's a tad bit scary at times.
It is.
We've gone off of the tangent here with this one, but
I think it's also leading to an increase of incels perhaps who feel like it is their right to take what they want and take what they need from the people around them, and like that's not healthy for anybody involved either. So I think I
do agree with that. But the studies that I've looked into, you actually see a lot more. I mean, incels are always going to be an issue, unfortunately. Sure. Like, that's just
life,
unfortunately, and we have to find a way to figure that out. But you have a lot more men who, I guess, see kind of what's going on, because unfortunately there are some, bad characters when it comes to things like the Me Too movement, who unfortunately, and you see a lot of these guys who they don't want to get put in that situation, right? If you're at a bar and you're both drunk and you consent, just because you're drunk doesn't mean that you're not consenting, right? And then you wake up in the morning and it's all on you as the male. That's, I personally don't think that's fair, right?
No.
It
two parties
are both drunk. Why does it always fall on the man to kind of be the problem? So you see all of these guys who just I'm not going to do it because I don't want to, and we gotta find a way to make sex just easy, no kind of worries about, not worries, but be comfortable with someone who you want to share your sexual experiences with, and kind of go from there. And I don't know what we're gonna do, but we gotta figure it out, because honestly, I'm worried for these younger generations.
My best kind of advice for that is, if you're worried about somebody not consenting or something like that, then maybe. And I think it's really hard to put yourself in that position, especially when you've been drinking or under the influence of whatever you are partaking in, because I'm sure it's not just drinking, it's other things, especially in today's age. We've got some legal drugs and tons of illegal drugs that will make it seem a lot worse. But I feel like you that's a tough one. That's really tough. It is tough. And as somebody who's had some trauma and who has had some not unsolicited, but like unwanted, maybe non-consensual sexual encounters. We won't get too deep. We don't want to listen to me cry all day. It's not cute, but it is tough. And there's been situations that I've put myself in that at the beginning it was consensual, and by the time that the morning rolled around, it certainly wasn't. Or I stopped something, but they don't necessarily think that it stopped, or they don't think it's it is what it is. But that's a tough one.
Yeah,
that's a really
for sure. One. And as I said, no always means no.
Yeah.
That's not going to change.
No.
Especially if you're a little bit younger.
Yeah. No means no.
No means no. Doesn't passed out doesn't mean yes.
Yeah.
And those are the things you have to really worry about.
I think
not worry about. You have to be conscious about, right? Like
yeah.
if you're in a situation and the person's not responding, that doesn't give you right. They may have said yes to oral sex or whatever, but that doesn't mean that you can move to that if they can't
communicate
to, that, right?
it.
So
and I think it's important to keep checking in with your sexual partners and be like, is this okay? Do you like it when I do this? A great way to ask consent. That's not being like, hey, do I have consent to ABC? You know, just being like, hey, is it, you know, do you like it when I do this? And if they say yes or no, cool, now you know.
Yeah, they say no, then you have to. Yeah, it's your responsibility to.
Yeah, there's
pull back and you know, figure yourself out and go from there. Yeah, and, you know. Yeah, you guess at the beginning might not be yes at the end, depending on what you're doing. Yeah. It's just, as I said, I think the biggest thing is just communication.
For sure.
Between partners, multiple partners, just talk it out. And you know.
If you're having, you know, sexual relationships with somebody, you should feel comfortable enough to communicate with them. Like, I get that sex maybe isn't necessarily as big of a deal as it used to be back in the day, but I still think that it needs to be consensual. And if you're letting anybody enter your body, women, or if you are entering any bodies, men, you should be able to communicate with the person that you are, you know, making that connection with.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's important.
Yeah, we took a little turn there, but I mean, I think it's something that needs to be discussed more. Sure. So, you know, here we are.
Let's talk about sex.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't sue me, Marvin Gaye.
Have you had any, like, I guess, interesting, or I don't want to say odd, but different requests with your OnlyFans account? Like,
I got one like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, sorry. Let me just. Okay. So, I personally don't use OnlyFans.
You're not selling your body? You're not selling that butthole for some money?
Jesus. So is it like one of those things where, why, like, is it pictures, videos? Yeah. But is it also like, is it DMs? Is it?
Yeah. So
it's more like I'm gonna say like a companionship kind of thing, depending.
I would say so. Yeah? And like, you know, I'll give you a brief laydown of how it works for those who don't know. And if you're interested in signing up, I'll send you my, you know, stay tuned for the link of the social link.
There we go.
But it's kind of like Instagram in a sense where you can subscribe to their profile, which unlocks their timeline. And I can post videos, GIFs, pictures, whatever on my timeline. And
gotcha.
You kind of get all that access with your monthly subscription. And it's a monthly subscription, so you don't need to subscribe for life. You don't need to subscribe for a year. You can kind of go month to month, which is nice. No contracts. So hot. And then there's also the opportunity to direct message to people that you're chatting with. And I know a lot of people will offer like pay-per-view options. So where they'll send out kind of like a message to all their subscribers saying, hey, like I just filmed this hot little number, you know, I'm going to send it to your inbox. It's going to cost $15 to unlock, and you can unlock it if you want. If you don't want to, no big deal. I never get offended when people don't, you know, purchase any pay-per-view that I send out. I'm just happy to have subscribers. You know, to me, that's support. That's helpful. Anything above and beyond that, you know, extra money in my pocket, I'm never going to say no to it. But you know, it kind of gives me the ability to show what I want to show and film what I want to film, and, you know, kind of get comfortable with the people that I'm sharing the more intimate moments with. Please, Dave, don't listen to this, my dad. But it's been a lot of fun, and, you know, it's been interesting because I've obviously chatted with a couple of people who are subscribed to me, and, you know, if I'm showing you my titties or showing you my whatever, I want to get to know you. I'm just that person. I'm bubbly. I'm a chatter. I mean, you guys, I've been chatting for like an hour and 2 minutes. I love talking. I love listening to myself. So for me, it's all about making those connections. And it's actually really funny because I had one of my subs ask me once if I was a therapist, and I was like, what? Like that really threw me off. And he's like, you just seem like you want to help people, and like you're so supportive, and you're just like very easy to talk to. And like, you know, that's something that I've always kind of had in the back of my mind. Like I've always thought about being a therapist because I am open. I find people open up to me. People talk to me about their mental health problems.
Very easy to talk to you.
Yeah, super easy. Yeah, both of us are super easy to talk to. But it's just because we're open and we kind of have like that no judgment zone. And whether it's with friends or strangers or whoever, it's always like no judgment. I'm here to be supportive of you. And if there's anything that I can do from my past experiences to help you get through whatever you're going through, like that's what I'm here for. Yeah. So it was really interesting for a sub to be like, are you a therapist? Or are you training to be a therapist? And like, maybe one day that could be a thing. I would love to. And like, I think, you know, especially like what we talked about with going through like porn and things like that, I think that sex therapists are going to be huge demand in the next couple of years. So if you're on that path, good for you. Make that money. And maybe it is something that I would get interested in. And if I can make enough money to, you know, work and go back to school and get a master's or whatever the case may be, I would love to do that. But it was really interesting because, you know, my friends say that they're like, oh, you're so easy to talk to. But it was weird for a complete stranger to be like, and somebody else is
also
customer, a paying customer for sure. He's not a stranger, but a paying customer to tell me that. And he's not the only one. Somebody else has also kind of referred to me as a sex therapist, and I was like, that's interesting. It's interesting for me, for sure.
I feel like, especially with OnlyFans, there's really no way of like with regular social media, Instagram, that kind of stuff. We're always kind of putting out
the best side of ourselves. Yeah.
But I feel with you're seeing a lot more of a personal side in there, right? You're seeing things that, as you said,
intimate,
that kind of stuff. So I can definitely see why people are kind of drawing the kind of conclusions for sure, because you are very easy and judgment free to talk to. So I think that's why when we kind of started talking again and we kind of got back, it was super easy. It was like nothing changed. And it's been a couple years, to be honest, too, right?
Yeah, so, it's been, when was that? 2018.
Yeah, so it's been
2018, so like 2-3 years.
And we just are back to like nothing's changed. So I think it is a huge compliment for someone to tell you, for sure. So like, can you like, what's like the weirdest, most random, you don't have to say anything, right? This is completely up to you. But like, do people ask for like feet pics? Like,
I wish, like, feet peeps, come at me, like wherever you are, like come at me. I would love that. And like, I'm pretty sure it was Rita who was talking on one of your episodes about she wants to sign up as like Gassy Lassie or something.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
Rita.
I'm pretty sure that handle's taken. But like, I would love some more fart subs, because like it's just a wasted talent for me. Like,
you're gonna be doing it. You might as well take advantage.
Yeah, like, and I'm so good at it. Like if you're into burps, if you're into toots, like holla at your girl. I'm here for you. I want more of that. But honestly, I don't get any of those requests yet. I'm really sad about it. But I think the weirdest thing that somebody asked me for kind of recently was he asked me for a video of me brushing my teeth topless.
Nice.
All right. Like, I was like, are you my dentist? It's so important. Yeah, like I'm doing it anyway. So like, I'll make an extra few bucks off this.
So I guess it's kind of like those things where it's one thing leads to another. You kind of start talking to these people, and they
getting
can
comfortable,
get a little bit more what they want to see, and then you can, I guess, through this pay-per-view kind of way, you can send them what they want.
But I'm still only gonna do things that I'm comfortable doing. Course. If somebody's like, take a video of you, I don't even know, but something that I'm not comfortable
you
doing.
You can say no, right?
Yeah, like I can be like, yeah, that's not for me.
No, not
yet. Not yet. Maybe one day, but not right now.
And me personally, like, if I was a woman, I think this is amazing, because you know what I mean. You're doing everything from the safety of your own home.
Yes,
it's all online.
Yeah,
you're using, they're not, it's not in person, and it's just again it's empowering, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure there's lots of men that do OnlyFans.
Yeah, there are.
Maybe when I get the body looking good, I'll step up. But
your body is perfect, honestly. But I'm not saying that to like make you feel good or anything, but like anybody can be on OnlyFans.
True, and I think that's the big thing, right? Is that there's going to be a market for any body type, right? People
Literally
are attracted to all kinds of bodies, and that kind of bullcrap we were fed through our Instagram, social media commercials every day of this perfect body is really just not true.
Not true at all.
Finding people who you're attracted to, would be great. Interesting. Okay, so that being said, as a strong kind of empowered woman, with your like male friends, for instance, and maybe like if you're like hypothetically looking for a partner, what are some of the stuff that that you're looking for it to be supportive to you, or any other strong, independent, empowered woman? Like, what are some of the characteristics that you want your male friends who might not know what kind of how to be supportive? You know what I mean? Like, that's just me being like, how can we support our
ladies?
Exactly,
for sure. And I think it's about, I think the biggest thing that I would ask for my male colleagues right now is, calling out that like toxic masculinity behavior. And if your homie is making an inappropriate joke, call him out on it and be like, why is that funny? Or like, dude, that's not kosher. We're not into that. Like, you can't say shit like that. And it's one thing for a woman to tell a man that's inappropriate, but it's a completely, unfortunately, completely.
Oh, she's just a bitch.
Yeah, she's just a bitch. Oh, why
you got panties? Italian when I did that.
Yeah, you can't see it, but I'm doing the Italian hand thing. That's very important when you're speaking Italian. But like, you're absolutely right. If I, if you were to come up to me and be like, hey, blah 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 blah, do this, and I'm like, no, like I'm not into that. You're gonna get mad at me, and it shouldn't be like that. And I think men typically make a lot of inappropriate jokes, and I've always kind of been that guy's girl. Like I don't want to say like, oh, I don't really like women, because like, ladies, I love you. I'm trying to be more of like a femme female, but like, I've always had a lot more guy friends, and I think guy friends are really comfortable with me being like, oh, show us your tits, ha 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 ha. Like, that's not funny.
Pay for myself.
Yeah, pay for it. Yeah, like, if you send me, my monthly subscription, you'll see them for free. And it's so funny. I actually, I'm going to call him out, but on Instagram, I had somebody who messaged me, and he was like, oh, I would never actually pay. And he's like, but will you send me a free video anyways? And it's like, who, like, first of all, you and I aren't really friends. Like, we're kind of mutuals through people on Instagram, but like, why should I? Like, if like
you're running a small business. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it's a business.
The crazy thing is, he's a business owner, and I'm like, would you teach somebody how to install their water heater for free?
No.
Okay. So I'm not gonna teach you how to jerk off to my body for free. Like, I'm so sorry, but like, pay me for my business.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that difficult, and like, it's literally like a coffee or two a month.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
you can afford it.
That's like the big thing for me. Like, as I said, I don't have a lot of guy friends, but the friends I do have, I'm thankful that they're not a bunch of douchebags, but I have no problem calling any, if I'm out and you can see, like, one time I was at the gym. This was a couple years back when I used to go to the gym and I wasn't this fragile, anxiety-ridden man that I am now.
Next episode will be on anxiety.
Yeah. And I remember I was at the gym and I'm just, I'm very to myself. Getting to the gym and its being was an issue. And it was later at night. I used to always go after work because then no one's around kind of thing. And I remember this girl was there and, for some god-awful reason, a woman in the gym is like, oh my God, like the holy grail of thing here. And the way the gym works, it's kind of like an L, right? There's like this big kind of room and then there's like off to the side, there's like
weights,
squats, racks, that kind of stuff. So I was kind of over there chilling,
just
working on the legs,
over there?
just all day.
Yeah.
I got a big old booty. I got to make sure it looks nice.
Yeah, you got a big old booty.
And I kind of was coming back out to do other stuff, and I just kind of saw, like, you can almost just feel there was something wrong. There was a man. She was talking to the girl. She was on the treadmill, and then she kind of like, you could tell she was like moving to different. And he kind of kept following, and it was just, and it just didn't sit right with me. So I was either like, I can just kind of continue doing what I'm doing, not care, but I'm like, that doesn't feel right. So first, I just took my headphones off, walked over, and was like, I literally just said, "Hey babe, are you good?" And she kind of looked at me and was like, "Well," and then the guy's like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. I was just trying to talk to her, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Hey man, she's trying to work out, fuck off," kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't say, it's all good. I'm like, "All right, well, how many?" I was supposed to be like, "Oh, how much longer do you have?" She goes, "I'm just 20 minutes," and then I'm like, "Okay, good." And you know what I mean? And then he fucked off, and then I kind of just went back to working out. And before she left, she came by and she's like, "Hey, thank you so much. Like,
yeah.
I'm here to work out. Like, I don't want to talk to people."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I felt something was kind of off, and I didn't want to overstep, right?"
Yeah.
But also, I feel like when she's kind of like looking around, I just popped in and said, "Hey," did that, and then walked off. So
yeah, and like even just having another male there probably like intimidated the guy and was like, "Oh, like it's fine, it's fine." And I'm not a very intimidating, but just someone calling you out on your bullshit, right? Just kind of is what we're looking for, or being like, "I see you,"
like,
and I'm not.
The girl work out.
Yeah, like she's not here for you. She's here to get sweaty and go.
Exactly,
and not sweaty with you. That's very important to remember. Like, we don't always want to get sweaty with boys.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we just want to make sure women are comfortable, men are comfortable,
everybody's comfortable. Everybody.
That's it. Do you worry that perchance if you do find somebody that you do get serious with, will the OnlyFans be an issue, do you think? Or are you like, would you be upfront about that? Like, yeah. I think I would be upfront about it. It certainly it's hard to hide, and it's becoming part of my life. Am I going to do it forever? Probably not. Am I going to do it for now while it suits me? Absolutely. I've already made some money this year. I have to claim it on my taxes. So I'm going to ride it out. I know you have to claim it, right? Yeah. The CRA, like, don't come for me. Yeah. But I'm certainly going to ride it out for this year. If I even do it into next year, who knows? But it's something that I've really enjoyed, and it's been really empowering for me. And I honestly think that it's probably improved my sexual relationships right now. Perfect.
Because I'm feeling more comfortable in my skin. And I'm at a point now where I can say, like, I'm comfortable with this, but I'm not comfortable with X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you think that if you're in a relationship with somebody or having sexual relationships with somebody, that you would be able to say that because, again, you're sharing that very intimate moment with them or letting them enter your body, whatever the case may be. But you're not always comfortable to be like, I'm not into that.
Yeah.
And you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So I think that has been something that's been really empowering for me. It's like I'm learning about what I like and what I want, and being able to voice those wants and needs or concerns to the people in my life has been, my sexual partner. It's like, it's been really, really empowering for me, I think.
Perfect. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. you should be more comfortable with somebody you're in a relationship with and that kind of stuff. So I do think that that's something that, is a communication is key. Just talk about it.
Yeah, be honest.
What you like. Yeah. And go from there. So that's awesome. And I think that, you'll easily be able to weed out those people who, aren't comfortable with themselves and they're like, oh, I don't want you doing OnlyFans, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? Like, are you good? Like, it's, I mean, I'm sure there's a certain level. If there's an OnlyFans where I'm sure people are banging, it's like, okay, well, maybe pull it back a little bit because I want to be with you kind of thing. But, and those are all conversations you have. So I do, I think, if you are getting into a relationship with anybody who does have an OnlyFans, definitely talk about it. Yeah. Voice your opinions. You're allowed to voice your opinions.
For sure.
But again, it shouldn't just be like oh, well, no, I'm not, the expectation shouldn't be you should be stopping it when you get in a relationship. Yeah. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. And I think, again, as long as you're talking about it and... I was going to say something, now I forget. That's okay. Fuck my life. I think it's really important to be honest and open. Yeah. And again, if they have concerns about it, address them. If they say, I don't want you doing meetups, no problem. For me, like my OnlyFans, I'm not here to be anything but online. Yeah. Like for me, it's strictly that. I know some of my not colleagues, but like the people who I've met through this community, they do offline work, or they do escorting as well. And, for me, it's not about that. For me, it's really about the kind of being in control of myself and, owning the power of that. And I feel like being online, I have full power.
Yeah. You can just shut it off or,
exactly. I can log out and be done with it, or I can block somebody if they're pissing me off type of deal, whereas in the real world, you don't necessarily have that ability. And I think it's scary times for anybody who's escorting or anybody who's doing, sex work offline. Like it's scary times. And unfortunately, like sex work, it's legal in Canada, but in a lot of places it's not. And you see a lot more, I listen to a lot of murder podcasts, and like a lot of sex workers, kind of get, go missing or get murdered, and people don't really care. People don't really think about it. It's kind of like, oh, taboo. Like, oh, well, they were a sex worker. They kind of, not
asking for
it. I don't want to say that they're asking for it, but like, they put themselves in that situation. They shouldn't just be, hooking up with randoms, but it's like, it's a way of life and it's to pay your bills. Yeah. And, that's
a job.
It's a job. It's a job. And sex work is the oldest job. Like you said, you're a history major, right? Yep. So it's the oldest job in existence.
Absolutely.
It's, other than maybe farmer gatherer.
Yep.
It
was probably there too.
It's certainly in those times, but like it's probably just as old as that job. And you need to remember, it is a job. It's a job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And jobs come and go. So, for this time of your life, it's working. And I'm sure there's a point in your life when you're going to be done with this chapter, but you'll have taken so much knowledge and you've learned so much about yourself that you can, again, put that into your real life, right? Yeah. So that's fantastic. And I mean, anybody who's going to try and judge anybody for doing that, get fucked. Take a hike. You know what I mean?
Take a hike.
I do say that obviously I do follow your Instagram, your personal Instagram, and I find that you are very vocal with social issues, things like that, political stuff. Do you think that is that worrisome trying to find somebody hypothetically, or would you be open to someone who has different views? Do you know what I mean? Like I just find right now no one wants to have conversations. Everyone just wants to yell at each other. Yeah. And call each other
names or whatever. For sure. Yeah, I think I would be okay with some topics we can have different opinions on.
Course,
if you, but there's a lot of key kind of important topics in my life that if you differ from my view, we're probably not going to be compatible at the end of the day. Like, if you don't think that women should have rights, you're not the man for me. I'm sorry, but it is what it is.
I don't mean we're going back that far.
No, but or if you don't believe in kind of, Black Lives Matters movement, if you don't believe in the Me Too movement, if you don't believe in if you don't believe in defunding the police, or if you, I don't necessarily think that my partner or sexual partners or anybody in my life has to agree with me on everything, but there's a lot of things that I'm very passionate about, and I do take the time to do a lot of research into the things that I'm passionate about, and I'm always here for open, honest conversation and debate. Yeah. If I can debate with somebody and open their eyes to certain things and have them open my eyes to certain things, I that's hot for me. I'm
respectful
into that.
Conversation. Just from the things you rifled off there, I agree with a lot of them. Some I don't agree with.
Yeah.
I just, at the end of the day, it's about having a respectful conversation where we can two people can voice their opinions. Yes. And if they differ, okay, that's fine. But right now everything's just so pent up, and it's crazy, right? And I'm hoping that we can kind of get back to a point where people can have conversations. You don't have to, not say anything because you're worried about what people are going to think about you.
It's
an
a safe
opinion's
space.
an opinion, right?
Yeah.
Like it's your opinion. As long as your opinion's not harming or hurting anybody, obviously, then people should be entitled to that. And, and I think it's just a big thing, right? With you being so vocal, just, that if you're just kind of cutting out a certain group of people because of what they might think before talking to them, right? And I think that's a big thing, especially if you're getting into relationships. Like, I'm getting old as shit. Like, I'm not dating for fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm dating for marriage, that kind of stuff.
For life.
And, to be upfront and honest about your beliefs, your opinions.
Yeah.
I do believe, like, political beliefs and religious beliefs are the two things that you shouldn't be kind of judged on.
Yeah.
You should be able to have a conversation about them without kind of any negative repercussions.
Yep.
And, you go from there. I think the biggest thing that, I guess, in general is just communication. Like, that's to me, it's when it comes to like sex, relationships, friendships, anything, just communicate, just talk about it, get it off your chest, and I guarantee you it will be better.
But I think it's even important, like you said, it's not just your sexual partners or your relationships, your love life, it's your friends too. Like, talk to them about it. I know, like, I've talked to my dad about a couple of topics and kind of opened his eyes to it. When I say defund the police, he's like, well, we need a police force, and I'm like, I'm not saying we don't. But I'm saying that there's other ways that we could go about certain things. Yep. And, he never really looked at it from that point of view. And I think it's really important to be able to debate and discuss politely with respectfully. Yeah. Absolutely. It's important.
Right?
Yeah.
And you see so much now, it's become so easy to talk to people disrespectfully through computers, social
and just
media,
block them
and just think that and there's a problem with that too, right? You see it a lot with, for instance, I've noticed on Twitter a lot, right?
Twitter's a minefield.
I hate Twitter. I win the lottery
Twitter
to buy it and shut it down. But
oh my god, please don't. Twitter's my favorite. It's like where I'm most unfiltered.
Yeah, it's also, you see a lot of these certain people who have a certain, obviously, belief.
Yeah.
And then they try to get rid of the other belief, and then at one point it's just you're creating just a group of the same people who have the same, and then it gets to the point where it gets higher and higher, and things just escalate very quickly. You always need to have balance with everything, right?
Yeah.
So I do think that with you being so vocal about it, that absolutely, just having those conversations, like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying you have to go and be with someone, talk to them, and then that's like, oh well, we're gonna get married now. No, just being forward enough to have those conversations respectfully, and go from there, right? Because it's crazy times these days.
It is crazy times, and like you said, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but just because you have your opinion doesn't necessarily mean that my opinion's wrong or that your opinion's wrong.
Two opinions can be
both right, and in a certain context or a certain environment, absolutely they can both be right.
And also, opinions aren't facts, right?
So true.
That's the biggest thing to remember. Your opinion isn't fact. Facts are facts.
Yeah.
People got to remember that, right?
Yeah.
If my opinion offends somebody, doesn't mean it's wrong.
Yes.
I'm offended at a lot of people's opinions. Doesn't mean I don't like them. Doesn't mean I think less of them.
Yeah.
That's their opinion. I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with them and go from there, right?
Yeah.
So, as I said, communication's key, friends. That's all.
Just in all
everything
situations,
of the world.
Just talk about your feelings. Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Don't pent it up and let it explode.
Oh my god, those are the worst.
I can tell you that doesn't work out well.
Yeah, Dan, it doesn't work out well, does it?
3 years later, going strong.
Going strong.
For sure. So, obviously, you being a strong, empowered woman, what are some of the advice you'd give females, males, really anybody who's trying to start their own journey, to be maybe comfortable with yourself, and what can you say? Because as I said, you're already on your journey. You're I don't know, you're just leading the charge, I'd say. Do you know what I mean? With everything going on, you're and I think you need to be commended for that. So
thank you. I mean, my best piece of advice would be I'm a big believer in self-care. I take multiple evenings to myself to do even a face mask, or even just throwing myself in the shower. To me, that's self-care. I know, I suffer from anxiety. I've had bouts of pretty deep depression, and even sometimes doing something as simple as showering can be really difficult. Yep. So, just being kind to yourself when you're going through these things, and discovering who you are. Be kind to yourself.
It's a journey. It's not going to happen tomorrow.
Exactly. And nothing's going to change overnight. And I think it's also important to use your network of trusted friends and family to talk about the problems that you're going through, and being able to, talk about these things. And, one thing that I really commend you for is, a couple of weeks ago, you and Lindsay were on talking about, going to therapy and things like that. And that actually, it's something that I've struggled with for a long time. And I actually reached out through the system through our work to try to find a therapist. Unfortunately, they're not doing in-person sessions, and I've tried virtual before. It wasn't for me, but I'm on a wait list to get into a therapist for in-person sessions just because like, but being able to talk to you and Lindsay and, more people in my life who have talked to me about therapy. I was chatting with one of my friends in Texas the other night because he's going in therapy and he's a big advocate for it. So I think being able to have friends and family that you can trust and talk to about the problems that you're going through is really important. And I also think that like, love really starts from within. I can't force anybody to love themselves. Like I can love I could love you. Not your job. It's not my job to make you love yourself. Like I can love you and I can show you all the love that I have for you. But if you don't love yourself, I can't do anything to change that. And it's tough for me when I have friends who I feel like they don't love themselves because it's like I'm a lover. Like I have a big heart. I just want to like
give too much that is love for you, right?
Yeah,
so you gotta be careful.
But it's not my job to make you feel the love. Like I'm here to help you and support you. And I want to do that for the people in my life. But at the end of the day, that comes from within. And if you aren't willing to put in the time and effort of yourself, like you can't expect your friends or family to do that for you.
Especially in relationships.
Yeah.
Red flags are red flags for a reason. Yeah. You're not going to, you're not Bob the Builder here, trying to fix somebody and you shouldn't be expected to. So, a lot of people need to, grow themselves and by themselves because it is, I absolutely agree.
But still
have to
being
love
supportive.
Yourself.
Like I will support the shit out of you as you go to therapy or, support the shit out of you as you, are on this journey of self-love. Like I'm going to support you every way that I can.
But I'm not going to be with you because I don't think that a situation like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's, you're looking for a significant other, you got to do your work first and then go from there. And that's kind of where this whole podcast kind of came from.
Yeah.
I got to do my work before I can find somebody to be with, right? So
me moving down here, it was a big,
big
when
step.
I moved down here in 2017, it was about loving myself and taking care of myself and putting myself first for the first time in my life of 24 years at that point. So I think that that's really important. And I mean, as for advice, there's this one thing, I'm going to call her out, my best friend. She's been my best friend since I was 3 years old. I love her so much. Like, I think she is my soulmate. Like there's no other way around it. Like we are so connected. But I remember one time I was kind of talking shit to myself and I was like, oh, Tora, you stupid, blah, 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 blah. And she looked me dead in the face and was like, don't talk about my best friend like that.
There you go.
And it's like, you're so right. Yeah. I would never allow people to talk to my best friend the way that I talk to myself. So why do I tolerate that? Yep. And that's something that I do now. Like you said something about yourself earlier, and it took everything in me not to be like, don't talk about my friend like that. And I say that to even my friends online, and I'm like, don't talk about my friend like that. And they're like, wait, what? I'm talking about me, and I'm like, I know.
You're my friend.
You're my friend, and I would never tolerate anybody talking poorly about my friends.
Amazing.
So don't talk about my friend like that. So I think that that's something that like really like
catches people off guard and like, oh yeah, and they like and they remember the interaction because it's like, ah, shit, true, yeah,
like
right?
I shouldn't talk about myself terribly because it's like if I think it was when you were saying you wake up at the mirror and call yourself a piece of shit or whatever, like don't do that. If you I'm a big believer in manifestation. So if you wake up every day and you're like, I'm gonna have a great day, Dan. It's gonna be awesome. I'm feeling sexy, feeling hot in my body. Like life is good, life is grand. Like. Put the energy out that you want to get in. I think that energy is so important right now.
Absolutely. And it sometimes sounds a little like,
cheesy,
hippy dippy, but at the end of the day, it will work. Because as I said, I've been trying to manifest better, better vibes. If you will. Oh my God, I feel like a 20-year-old child, but
no, I'm all about good vibes.
It's
good vibes
it does.
Only.
I feel so much better the last couple of weeks, a couple months, and as I said, just talking about things and getting things out there, and just being vocal and communicating with my friends, family, that kind of stuff has been amazing. So I thank you so much for stopping by.
Oh my God, it's been
coming
an awesome
to see this. I definitely think we'll have to have you on again for maybe more of like a little bit of a deep dive into ways we can fix kind of what's going on and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
But two very not PhD people, but we'll solve the problems. That's what we do, right?
For sure.
Did you want to shout out your socials?
I mean, I teased it earlier, so I feel like I have to now for all these people who are like, damn, this chick. I want to see these titties.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're interested, I'm pretty social on Twitter. Like I said not too long ago, you can find me at VIX2442. Through Twitter, you can find all my other handles, links, or if you're tech savvy, just search VIX2442 on pretty much anything, and you will find me.
You'll
and
stumble across the OnlyFans.
Yeah, and I'm if you are doing that, I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you so much. It's I'm really here just on a journey of personal growth, and I can't wait to therapize. Is that a word? Therapize? Sure. Therapist people. I'll help you try to sort out your demons and things like that, and Yeah, just, don't tell my boss. Don't save my pictures, don't be creepy, but I'm
that asshole.
Yeah, don't make me stop doing it. I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Awesome. And then, as always, you can check out the lazy.pieceofsht Instagram page. Send me a message if you need me to relay something to Tora. I'm more than happy to, and then kind of go from there. If you want to send an email, lazypieceofsh.t@gmail.com. Send an email. Love the chat, especially if something along this stuff. Again, I'm not a professional, anyways. Neither is Tora, but just kind of like someone to soundboard you, and you want to kind of get something off your chest that maybe you feel like you can't talk to your friends or family about for now.
Being anonymous helps you talk about problems.
Exactly,
so
right? That's the
use
best thing
it,
about
abuse
therapy,
it.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
You're talking to someone who literally has no idea about you or what's going on.
Yep.
Everything
Safe
confidential.
Space.
I'm not that kind of person who's going to throw that shit out there. It's just not who I am as a person. And I just want, at the end of the day, everybody to grow and be the best versions of themselves.
For sure.
Awesome.
Love that.
Well, that's been a great episode. We've run a little long here, so I do apologize for that. You probably need 2 drinks for this one, but I think it was lots of good information we discussed, lots of stuff that doesn't get talked about a lot. So I do think that sure. I think it was a great episode, and I thank you again so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm sure we'll be doing this again. So as always, have a wonderful Friday. Enjoy your weekend, and stay safe and stay wild. Bye.
Bye.